She just needs to do the live stream. Oh, there it is. Okay.
All right,
Oh, we're good.
live stream, we got the recording,
We're good.
we got everything. All right, well, again, on a split screen here, so do the best we can. I said, I'd like to call to order a regular meeting of the Brookfield Inland Wetlands Commission. Today is Monday, the 8th of June, 2020. My name is Sharon Fox. I act as the chair of the commission. With me also are Mr. Mark Mulvaney, who is our vice chairman, and Mr. Michael Neustadt, who is a regular member. And also on the phone, Mr. Dave Frankel, who is an alternate. So there are 4 of us. So all of us will be voting members tonight. Also with us are the Wetlands Enforcement Officer, Alice Dew, and our recording secretary, and whoops, I see one new member here. Our recording secretary, Allison Kennedy. And I just see that Margaret Myers has joined.
Yes.
Hello.
Okay, welcome.
Hi, Margaret.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, so Margaret, you are number 5. So Margaret is an alternate member on the commission. So everyone will be a voting member. Again, myself, Mr. Mulvaney, Mr. Neustadt, Mr. Frankel, and Ms. Myers will all be voting members. All righty, I think I've got that. Okay, let's go to our agenda. And we're going to start with the Wetlands Enforcement Officers Report.
All right. 148 North Lakeshore has not changed. 58 Old Grays Bridge Road, I spoke with Ari, and he said that a lot of the testing sites are still closed, but hopefully will open soon so he can get going again. 83 Candlewood Lake, no update on that from Tom Beecher. And 24 Old New Milford Road, I went over there June 1st, and the grass has all gotten established and all the plantings have been complete as per the plan. It looks good.
All right, so we should, so that's a violation. I think that we can take off the report for compliance. I don't recall. I don't think we had a, did we have a bond on that?
No.
Yeah. All right, well, I said for compliance, someone want to make a motion? Do we have the details here, or can you, so we get that right in the motion, the activity number or the violation number?
It's W-20-12.
I move that we remove the notice of violation on W-20-12 for compliance.
I'll second.
All right, Mr. Frankel seconds. Okay, any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries unanimous. Thank you. Anything else for us, Alice?
Nope.
All right, anybody see anything in town of interest they want to bring to Alice's attention?
No.
All right, well, that's it. Again, we don't have any active site inspection reports. We're going to go right to old business. So first we've got, it's a 401 Federal Road. Let me just look. Do I see? I don't see any of, I don't see the applicant. It's usually the Steiners. I don't see them. I do see a new plan, with some new notations. I see some of the red. You've outlined the changes, I think, in red now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Chairman. This is Steve Sullivan from CCA. Yeah, we did outline the changes on that overall landscape plan.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Steve. I didn't know
Okay.
you were here for them. Sorry about that.
Well, they were supposed to be here, but I'm not really sure.
Oh, okay. Well, they might be trying to get in.
Yeah.
So yeah, so these are the landscaping plan changes in the squiggly lines, right? So there's really just, I guess pretty much all of them are in the upland review area, at least portions of them. Because we got the wetlands there on the northwest side, the big one, the bigger one. And then you got the little one there that's pretty much right on Junction Road. And then, of course, the river. So Steve, can you, so these are the, so I remember the conversation last week as they were trying to change the plantings because they wanted to enable, someone to be able to make hay in those areas. So
Well, the back portion that's not developed yet, they're going to continue to farm
okay,
as hay. It used to be farmed as corn, but I
right.
think
Mhm.
Mr. Steiner told you they couldn't get someone to farm it as corn. So that dotted hatched area that overlays the whole back portion
Yeah,
continued to be farmed as hay.
right.
The area at the corner of Federal and Junction, that's not going to be farmed as hay other than, well, on the south side of that driveway, they just wanted that to look more like a farm rather than trees and woods. So they're proposing to change, they proposed to change the landscaping features there to look more like a farm rather than just trees and shrubs.
Yeah, I think
That-
all along, it's sort of hard to sort of generalize it, but again, that northwest corner right along that, it's an exit pretty much, right? It's an exit.
That's a right in, right out, yeah.
Yeah.
So
they
the
run-
work, they want to finish up that corner. You've probably driven by there.
Yeah.
So that's
Yep,
south of the driveway.
Right,
North of the driveway will be, they'll continue, they want to do that as hay rather than corn like they did in the past.
right, which I don't know if that's even anything that we have to worry about, whether whatever
Right.
they're doing is farming,
Right.
right? So I don't think they need us to do anything with corn versus hay. I think really the question was about, they wanted to change the landscaping in that area. That's what I heard last week, but it looks like they want to make some changes in other areas as well.
Nope, it's this area, and then if you scrolled over to the main entrance off of
Yeah.
133, there's a clouded squiggly line there as well.
Yeah,
There's a cloud over 30% of what's done. So I really need to see an overlay or side by side of what the existing, the approved drawing showed versus what they want to do.
Did they not submit the original approved drawing?
These Zoom meetings are a little tough. I'm sure, somewhere in the original file, but we don't have that. It kind of needs to be submitted with this to look at it together.
yeah, so it is a
I thought that
little,
was submitted the last meeting.
it is, but I think what Mark is saying is you got to be able to have one over on the left. You got to have, a split screen. It's the one on the left and the one on the
Right.
right,
Right,
and then sort of eyeball,
right,
they take every little square inch and say, oh, okay, on that square inch, there used to be 2 of these and now there are none. I'm making that part up.
Right.
Is there anything you could do? I said that was part of the challenge we had last week, as Mark's saying, we were having trouble going, what was it before and what is it now?
Yeah, even if I had a tree or a plant schedule, original versus modified,
okay.
Michael here, I do have that on paper. I don't know how I would show it to you, but for some reason I got a copy of it. The original plan. It does show significantly more plantings in the lower left, the corner, as well as just to the north of the driveway. I'm looking at the area, the second area he pointed out to the right of the entrance off of Junction Road, and that has significantly more plantings as well. That little loop of plantings on to the right, where it just seems to be, I can't quite read what it is on screen, but there's a lot more in that area as well. So my concern on this is you say, Mark, is when this was originally approved, there were significant numbers of trees and other plantings surrounding the wetlands or close to the wetlands. I don't know how much of that is necessary for the protection of the wetlands. I'm sure it was discussed and thought that it was adequate. I think we have a question here or a request here to remove a significant number of the plantings that were originally planned.
Is there even anything, Steve, that you guys could do, like just some verbiage, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe we could find a way to put them up side by side, but even say, look, in the northwest corner, in the upland review area, which is, you
So
know, here,
so the only upland review area is at the corner of Federal and Junction, right?
oh,
No,
there's a, well,
No,
yeah,
I'm
but
saying that
yeah,
we're
there's-
changing something in. You
Yeah,
got
but
that,
there's-
you got that corner there.
yeah,
And then just to the left of the main entrance.
right.
correct. There's a little wetland right in there.
Right. But on the right-hand side of the main entrance where the pump station is, that's not in the regulated area.
Well, that's what I'm,
I
yeah,
can't
that's
tell by
what,
this map.
that's, yeah, go ahead.
It's not. I mean, this line, well, I can't, you're not, I can't, I can show you the regulated area line if the screen was shared with me.
Because it's 200 feet from the Still River, right?
Yeah, that line is right. Can
I
you
can
share
see
that
that dotted
screen?
line.
Yeah, it goes right through the far eastern driveway.
Yeah.
And then
But
there's another,
also, your wetland that's showing on the top left of the screen as we're all looking at it, you not only have the upland review south of it, you have the upland review area to the just north and to the east of it.
right, so the changes we're proposing are south of the main entrance, the Federal Road driveway.
And north.
And north, right?
And north is just gonna be hay.
I understand, but in
But that's
the
changed.
original approved plan, there were 3, 6, 9, 11 trees and shrubs along Federal Road north of the driveway.
Right.
Not bubbled? Michael, are those areas not bubbled?
No, in addition to the bubbled area, which is still in both
Right.
drawings, that area where it just says hay, from that word to Federal Road,
Those
along
trees.
the Federal Road border, starting at the lower corner of the wetlands and moving north and west.
Yep.
There are, like I say, I think it's 11 or 12. It's kind of hard to count.
But those are not in these red bubbled areas. That got missed when it
I see
bubbled.
what you're saying. In the red bubbled areas, half of them are.
Right. So some are not.
Some are not, correct.
So we really need a side-by-side comparison.
Yeah. And in the area south of the driveway, where this shows 2, 4, 5 plantings right along the south side of the driveway, and then that heavy line, I'm not sure what that is. Is that meant to be a stone wall?
No, those are grasses and shrubs.
Okay, but in that area, there were, I'd say at least 2 dozen trees, maybe more. It's hard to count.
Steve, I made you a co-host so you can share your screen and use your cursor to show everyone. if you want.
Okay, let's see. I just want to clarify where all the regulated areas are.
Right.
So you see this line right here,
Yep,
right? That's the regulated area line.
yep,
And then as we move to the east, you have this line right here associated with that pocket wetland there.
Yep.
And then there's the Still River line.
Could you show
And
us
so what they're-
northerly of the westerly wetland? You didn't go over that.
This is all regulated here.
Yeah, but right through where you have the red hashed, right?
Yep, this is all regulated area here.
Mm-hmm.
And then the southern part is comes right
Do
through
you,
here.
do you have the approved one on your screen, Steve, that you could? pull
No,
up?
I don't have that one.
Mhm.
Sorry about that.
Steve, if you go into the last week's agenda, you can get there.
Oh, okay.
It's drawing C11.
Alice, do you have it?
On my other computer, I can get
Oh.
it though.
It's okay.
Well, how about this? I mean, I said one of the things I wanted to do and wasn't able to do it in the last 2 weeks. I wanted to go back into the archives, for the original approval here and just see what the wetlands considerations were, if there were any. And if the applicants got them, that would be handy too.
Mhm.
Were there any wetlands considerations by the commission, because this predates me, for plantings in the upland review area on that northwest area and maybe a little bit over on the southern side?
Right.
And then
Is
maybe
this readable? If you enlarge my screen?
Yeah, you got to move it to your left a little. Good. Yeah, there's considerable amount missing
Yeah,
now.
this is not a great way to do it, though.
Well, that's what I'm suggesting. Maybe the second thing, Steve, I said, maybe, I don't know about layers, that can be tricky to do, but you got a table up on top
Yeah.
on this one.
Yep.
You've got I assume this is a proposed, how about a column that says was?
Sure.
Something like originally, you were
Yep.
gonna, because if we've got, someplace in there, you've got quantity, that's your proposed, maybe just
Yep.
to the right, there's another column that says was or original or something.
Right. Right.
And that can help us with the numbers. If you could do that for us, that can help. And again, we only need it in the upland review area, as you've noted, which
Right.
is not in all the bubbled area. The bubbled areas are not all in the upland review area. If you could do that for us. And I said, I'm going to try and get over to the town hall next Wednesday. And that's what I was
Yep.
going to ask maybe Diane and Alice, if sometime between now and then you guys could help me, and let's take a look at the minutes, a couple of the minutes for this original, and see if we can fish out any wetlands considerations for plantings in those two areas.
Okay.
In case there's something, that came up in that for which, changing the landscaping is a concern. In general, I don't know, I'll speak for myself. In general, I don't have a big problem with, these areas continuing to be hayed or farmed. That's fine. And that's obviously an as of right, but there was something, if I just want to check and make sure what the Wetlands Commission was thinking about for the plantings that are in those upland review areas. And again, right next to the, what was there.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
My concern also, I'm not sure when you leave it hay, if we don't get these recharge infiltration basins and detention basins, and there's a lot of other stuff that's getting made. So I want to get a better handle on what's going on with that.
Well, so those will be built in the future, but right now, since there's only one building,
Yeah.
they're not going to be built at this point.
Okay.
But they're still part of the overall plan once they can secure some tenants for these buildings. But
when does this permit expire? Do you know, Steve?
it's 2023. So in theory, if they don't get this stuff built, then they have to reapply. Plain and simple.
Okay. Does it function now with the amount of, I'm guessing it was approved as one big parcel. And again, this is the problem when we approve
Yes.
one giant project, is the retention basin gets built last. And if the project doesn't fully happen, it never gets built.
So for what's built right now, the detention basin on the right-hand side is what is going to cover that.
That's acceptable?
Yeah, that's more than yes, that's more than acceptable. The back portion is really for the big building A in the
Yep.
back.
Yep.
So that whole area there is the rear basin, I'll call it.
Okay. You understand my
basin-
concern?
Is the basin on the right built already or
It's partially built. It's still
Okay,
got to be.
in process?
That's that depression with those big, huge
Yes.
concrete things
Yeah.
that are
The manholes there,
partially in, so.
Okay.
But I'll talk to them and see about a comparison chart, like you asked.
Yeah, that makes it simple, like I said, and I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna ask land use because we need a little help, and as everyone knows, we're a little bit hampered. Isn't it? They can just, scoot down there anytime I want and go through the archives. So I said, I
Right.
don't know if the applicant's got anything, or I don't, if they've got anything left over, if they can help submit that, that would be welcome.
Yep. Okay.
Anything else, Dave, Margaret, Mark, Michael?
Now,
No.
if you all could see the comparisons, which I'm looking at, you'll see what I was talking about.
Yeah, I do. I remember, because I do remember
Yeah.
they were kind enough. They said they had brought the original packet.
Mhm.
So we were able to, and that was part of the, what are we looking at discussion. They had the original, and then they had a one pager at the bottom, which was what they wanted. And then it was still really wasn't clear what were the areas. And that's why Steve is here today with, and the bubbles are a huge step forward. So yeah, I think we do have it, but if they could put it in a chart and we can do this research, I think we can, I think we'll be further down the trail to make an informed choice or decision for them.
This is all just aesthetics anyway. They want that piece at the corner to look like a farm as opposed to a forest. So it's
Well, that's what I want to be sure of, Dave. There may
Mm.
have been, again, because I wasn't on the commission, or my memory may not even serve me that long ago. There may have been some considerations about that landscaping that we want to make sure we don't lose, even though it happened, 10 years?
right. I agree.
A very long time ago.
This plan was dated April of '09.
Right.
No, so 11 years
Yep.
ago. So,
11 years ago, a long time.
yeah, a long time. All right. Well, if there isn't anything else, Steve, do you have anything else for us?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Well, then someone want to make a motion to continue this to our next meeting?
I would make.
I'll make a
that we
motion.
can-
Go ahead. It's all right.
I would make a motion that we continue number W-20-20, 401 Federal Road until the next regularly scheduled meeting.
I'll second.
All right, Dave seconds. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Aye.
I
Any opposed? All right, motion carries unanimous. All right, thanks, everyone. All right, we're going to move on to the next one. I think, Steve, you're involved in this one as well. It's 204 Wisconsin Road.
Yep.
So we talked a little bit about what were the trees that needed to be removed for this project, and I think you gave us that.
Correct. Am I still the host? I can pull that map up.
Yes, you should be. You're still co-host.
Okay, at the last meeting, you asked us to map out the trees to be taken out within the regulated area, which is really associated with the widening of the existing driveway.
Yeah.
So we have Wisconsin Road here. So everything is on the right-hand side if you're going into the site. There's a 6-inch dogwood,
That comes out.
12-inch. Pardon?
That comes out.
Yes, comes out.
dogwood,
TBR is to be removed.
To
Sorry.
be right. Yeah.
And then there's a 12-inch oak here, 10-inch maple to be removed here. We mapped these couple trees, but they're to remain. 18-inch, triple 18-inch maple, 10-inch hemlock, 12-inch maple, they're to remain. Our GSF line is just to the south of that. And then you just have over around the bend of the driveway, a 16-inch cedar.
That comes out.
That comes
Oh,
out,
wow.
correct?
16-inch cedar. Wow, that's a big tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody-
Don't see that many of them.
Can you widen the drive on the other side
No.
and leave the cedar?
Let's see here. Oops, I just lost my spot here. So if I move it to the driveway, here's their existing septic. I'd have to cut below that septic system, which I would not want to do below that. I would not want to earth cut below that septic system. So I'm trying to keep that grade as is.
And that's grass, right? Between the cedar and the little pond?
Oh, yes, correct.
Okay. Well, you know, we might think about maybe, like I said, because that's a pretty cool tree here in New England. Maybe we can just talk about maybe a replacement for that.
I mean, we're not filling too much there.
Yeah.
And John Shalcom's the applicant is on the call as well.
Yeah.
You know, John, we might be able to save that just the way we have it. We might just miss that, you know, the trunk of that tree.
We got to come out 6 feet.
So yeah, again, Mr. Shalcom, just for, you know, if you could just name and address, please.
204 Wisconsin.
Okay, thank you. If you have to take it out, like I said, it's in the upland review area, right, Steve?
Yeah, that, let's see here.
Yep, it is.
Yes, it is. Yep,
Yeah.
it's right here.
Just
Here's the
double-
upland review
double
area right here.
checking. I said, you know, if you have to take it out, like I said, it's a pretty interesting tree. I said, maybe you guys could just talk about planting a replacement one. You know, just,
Mhm.
you know, 20 feet away from the driveway or 15 feet away from the driveway. I said, if you're going to get that close, you might be running over the roots and, you know, the tree might get stressed anyways.
Right.
Does the driveway have to, by code, go back up to 16 or 18 feet wide there? 'Cause once you've dropped off the first house, you can go back down to 12, can't you?
Yeah, with that would be back here though.
Isn't the first house right down close to Wisconsin Road?
Oh, no. Well, you're right. There is an existing house here,
Yep.
right? And then you have two more houses. This is the other house. So you
Yep.
probably, Mark, you still need that width past
Okay.
that first, you know, here's the garage.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. If we can kind of,
You know, if it went to
I mean,
14 feet.
I'm excited you can keep the hemlock, you know, because they're, you know, they're under stress here. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the maple. Like I said, if you have to lose a big cedar tree like that, I said, I would be satisfied if you guys, I said, found a place to, you know, replace it someplace in that area.
right.
There's a
Other than that,
possibility
I'm-
we could just save it.
Well, like I said, if you might not be able to. Like I said, all you gotta do, even if you move to put a new one in, you know, 5 feet away from the driveway, and you know, if you can save it, great. Like I said, that's a tremendous tree. You know, if you can't, like I said, I'd be you know, if you could replace it
Mhm.
with something small. It doesn't have to be a 16-inch cedar. I hope that's. I
No.
wasn't thinking that. I was thinking, you know, just a small one, which will grow.
Oh, we could do that.
Yeah.
I assume you couldn't move the tree.
The
It's
cedar,
probably, the root system's probably too complicated. You know, replant it.
you'd never be able to move this tree.
That's
Yeah,
that's
okay.
a tall order. That's a tall order.
It's not in the greatest shape at any rate.
Yeah, some of them are
It isn't in good shape.
No, it's not in good shape.
Yeah,
So let's get a nice new 2 or 3 inch caliper that'll grow into something and can stay in good shape.
yeah.
And plant it
Okay,
far
you
enough
know-
away so the root system won't be under the driveway in 10 years or 15 years.
Mhm.
Dogwood or maple.
I'm thinking another cedar.
another
Yeah,
cedar.
a cedar is preferable, you know.
Okay.
Other than that, I'm okay with, you know, I'm fine with that. I mean, I said you're saving a couple of big trees there that are close to the wetlands. I'm good with this.
Am I the only person who feels it might be a shame to lose a a stone wall? Or is that not something the commission should be concerned about?
I,
The stone wall
Mm.
doesn't, it's not that, it looks prettier on paper.
Okay,
Mhm.
I'll admit that I didn't go up and to see it. I was hoping to, and I didn't get a chance.
Mhm.
were you thinking, Michael, that the wetlands has some, or the wall has some wetlands impact?
That's what I'm asking. I don't know.
No.
This is
I
for
know
you,
we
Michael.
don't get,
I wouldn't think, I'm not aware of, like I said,
yeah, okay.
of salamanders or frogs living in stone walls, you know, when they're not living in the wetlands. I'm not aware of that. So if anyone is, I am not aware of that.
I am not either. But Mike, I have a good history of stone walls in New England for you.
Yeah, no, I'm very aware of them, and I know sometimes some of them are quite beautiful and historic.
Yeah.
And if this is not, then so be it.
All right.
Yep.
Like I said, yeah, let me open it up. Dave, Margaret.
Nope, I'm good.
Yeah, I don't, it isn't really relevant to inland wetlands, the stone wall, unless it's on wetlands, which apparently it is not, so.
And again, the stone wall is not going to be touched in where, you know, in this area, if you can see my cursor.
Yes.
It would be an ancient border of some sort. That's why it was put down in the first place. You know, a boundary.
Yeah.
I'm certainly aware of the
Yep.
history and the use. It just,
Sharon, just one comment. In the planning approval, it said that Planning Commission be apprised of any changes in the access road driveway required by the Wetlands Commission, specifically with regard to the fire marshal's opinion. And I don't believe you've gotten that yet, have you? Steve, have you?
No, I have not received anything. But I did check your office, I think it was, last week, and Diane said, no, they had not received anything yet.
Okay.
For me anyways, I don't think, you know, that the commission needs to hold for any input from the fire marshal. If they provide something to the applicant and they got to come back, well, then, you know, we'll deal with that. I don't think we
Okay.
need to hold up anything there, but I appreciate you mentioning it.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah,
I'd like to not finish this application up until we did hear from the fire marshal, because if the fire marshal says, no, he wants his 18 feet, which is right in this area where we have the 12,
yep,
then I have to revise that plan, this plan to
Yeah.
widen it, right?
sure, we can.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the fire marshal did say that.
Oh,
Well,
okay, well,
hopefully
that's-
he
yeah,
he
that's
agrees
fine,
with
Steve.
my, you know, it's just, it's a straightaway, it's a very short section.
Well, let's hope they can,
Yeah.
accommodate that,
Yeah.
because like I said, you know, it's, as you say, it's a straight section, it's short. And if you start getting it wider, now you're going to be impinging upon, you know, you got a wetland right there, that's right there. And then you've got a pond, so.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
I would if I had to do that, I would hold this side and offset at 18 this side, because I
Yeah,
have more space on this side than I do that side, but let's see what they say first.
yeah, well, again, hopefully, you know, some, you know, the minutes will capture, you know, some of, you know, will capture some of the concerns that, you know, I've mentioned, and, you know, whatever my colleagues are mentioning, so hopefully we can accommodate that. And yeah, we can hold it open. There's.
Yeah, we
regular
can,
business
yeah,
days, not the
continue
beginning
on.
of July.
I don't know if Alice, should I make a call to the fire marshal, or you guys want to send a tickler to him, or?
Not us.
We sent them all the plans quite a while ago, but yes, I will try to get in touch with them tomorrow.
I'll place a call to him as well.
Okay.
So,
All right.
are you
Well, again,
blasting something on this site?
No, oh, I'm sorry, yes, over by the proposed house,
Yep.
this area here is a ledgy area.
Yep.
So we anticipate for the foundation to take out some rock there.
So is there any potential issue to create? I mean, you got to notify people with foundations within 1,000 feet or so.
Oh, yeah,
right?
that's what, yep, we had to put a note, which is right here on the plan.
Yep. So,
Yep.
but to loop that into wetlands issues, I don't know what that does to wetlands creatures, and I don't know what blasting does. I haven't encountered that yet. Have you, Sharon? If it could crack a foundation,
Sometimes you can think about seasonalities, but this is what, 200? I'm sorry, you've got 70. You got the 75-foot line.
well,
Oh,
they're
you're
going to be
looking for the
blasting,
regulated
call it
area?
120 feet
Yeah.
from the wetland. I just don't know if that could disrupt a spring that feeds a wetland. I don't know enough about blasting.
I would have to, I can say, I don't recall in the last 10 years, any conversations about blasting and impacts to hydrology.
No, that is interesting. I've never really ever thought about it. I would say to answer your question about would something be killed in a blast, you know, some kind of animal or insect. Well, the answer is yes, of course.
No, I wasn't really speaking. They're a bit away from the wetland. I wasn't speaking to killing them, but scaring them out of their habitat, or I mean, if you can.
Well,
crack
there
a
are some you
foundation
just
1,000 feet
can't,
away-
you know, and you still have to do the blasting. You know, it just is what it is.
Well, there's something that I said that maybe there's something to think about, like I said, in the seasonality. You know, maybe you say, look, you know, most of wetlands animals are, you know, breeding in the spring.
Right.
You know, and we can maybe we can do a little G2 here. You know, maybe there is an element of, you know, having the blasting outside of breeding areas for, you know, for animals in these wetlands. Maybe we can, maybe someone's got you know, some
Guidelines, somebody
yeah,
from the
some
state.
guidelines about that. Yeah, we can take a look at it. We've got some time. That's a good thought, Mark. I said I've not run across any blasting.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to do it in the winter either because the ground is harder. So, you know, there could be different disruptions. And when the ground is more malleable, if you will.
I was actually thinking well,
Yeah.
the winter
Yeah,
might be
we-
better actually, because those creatures are usually not.
Yeah, but everything is sort of hard, and you know, if there's water, you know, it's semi-frozen or whatever. It could be different effects, and they might not be good effects either.
Do you have a blasting contractor yet who might have some
No,
expertise?
No, we're way too early on that,
Okay.
Mike.
Well, we'll do a little.
And we're
less
not
of-
even sure how much
Yeah.
blasting there's going to be,
Yeah.
because until you take off the overburden,
Yeah.
you know, no one knows for sure. But we anticipate maybe they can hammer it out. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Right. And there's some other techniques too, right? They
Yeah.
have the expanding stuff.
right.
It's funny. I've never encountered this topic before. You know, I've encountered projects that require blasting, but nobody ever talked about wildlife in the blast area. It's interesting.
What is the address of this place?
204A, Wiskimere Road.
204. Thank you.
All right. Well, you've given us some homework.
Yep.
We'll wait to hear. We'll wait to hear back from you. I think maybe we
Yep.
can continue this. We'll keep it on the agenda as old business, and you guys can, you know, just let Alice know whether you're gonna, you know, if you're coming, or if, you know.
Yep.
You know, we can be on the lookout for you.
Okay.
How's that?
Yep.
All right. Someone want to make a motion to continue this project?
I'll make a
application?
motion. So moved.
All right, so we've got a motion on the table to continue 204A Wiskinier Road to the next regularly scheduled meeting. We have a second?
I'll second it.
All right.
Anybody?
Don't everybody
I
jump
heard
at the same
Michael
time.
second. I heard Michael second.
Yeah.
All right. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor?
I,
I,
Opposed? Motion carries unanimous, 5-0. All right, thanks,
Okay.
thanks, guys.
Take care. Yep.
All right, we do not have any new business. We have the a tabled item here. It put not really tabled, I guess, but anyways, there's a public hearing next week. Not next week, but next
2
week.
weeks.
Yep, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave. Correspondence. How about the minutes from May 26th?
I did see a minor error.
Kiddo.
Second page, item C, 100 Candlewood Lake Road, the long paragraph right in the middle, it's just a typo. He said they have worked to Tecton to carefully fit the building. I think what was meant was he worked with Tecton. Just change the word to with.
Okay. Thank you for that. I missed that one. Anybody else note something noteworthy?
Other than that, look good.
All right, Michael, you want to do the honors then?
I will make a motion that we accept the minutes of the May 26, 2020 meeting as published.
Okay, do I have a second?
With the change you're talking about.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
With the minor change that was mentioned.
I'll second.
Okay, and I'll second. Oh,
All right,
go
thanks,
ahead.
Dave. All right, all those, Dave seconds, all those in favor?
Aye.
I,
Aye, motion carries unanimous. Okay, discussion topics. I don't have anything for riparian buffers yet. PFAs we've left on, Michael?
Well, I asked Alice to spread out amongst all of you what I had found. Most of it came
Yep.
from Aquarian Water. And I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it, in particular, the tests that were run in Brookfield and all the other wells they have around the state. Interesting only to the extent that Brookfield is really amongst the highest, and that's not in a good way, the most contamination. Although that being said, the contamination is still well below the 70 parts per trillion that seems to be kicked around as a reasonable number by the state, but there is no federal guidelines and there's no strong science to say that 70 parts per trillion is safe. So the question that's open is, how did it all get there? And is there anything we can do to stop any further contamination, even if it doesn't need to be cleaned up? And would that take a change in regulations? Is there anything that this commission can do? Just seems like it would be nice if we could get ahead of this instead of waiting until the contamination gets to a point where it's dangerous.
I need to marinate on that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Glad you brought it to our attention. I got to do a little more thinking and reading.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do.
Yeah, I mean, it's the stuff I sent you was meant to get the interest up and give you an understanding of what's going on. In terms of what we should do, there's some talk about it, but other than try and identify the sources of the contamination that exists and work to eliminate them, whether it's a factory that's just putting waste out in the backyard, situation like we're seeing in the big cleanup we're monitoring now, or something that's just leaking out of septic systems. I'm not sure anybody knows for sure.
I think we have to ascertain knowing for sure,
Yeah.
if you will, before doing
Agreed.
anything. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. The one source that appears to be well-known, and one of the largest sources of this stuff is firefighting foam. The stuff that's used by our fire department and every fire department, stuff they spray on runways. The plane is planning on crashing. It's a component of the foam, and I don't know if there's an alternative, but I believe they are working on it. And then a number of fire departments.
There was a World War II plane that crashed at Bradley Airport. When was it? A year or two ago, and they had to use foam. They didn't have a choice. And then it leaked into there's a river right by the airport, and it leaked into the river. And I remember there was some talk. I don't think anything ever happened. I don't know if anything can replace flame. You know, if you have something and it's it's on fire and there are other structures nearby, you have to get that flame out.
Absolutely.
The destruction can be worse than the pollution. I think that's perhaps what they said with this Bradley incident with the plane.
Absolutely. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have some good way, use the best way to control the flames. I formerly owned an airline and had a plane come down in Boston, and foam was spread, and it did a great job. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. It reduced the damage, and there was no injuries. So I certainly know about that. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying there seems to be some recognition that there is a side effect from this firefighting foam, and some people are working on an alternative.
Yeah, and after that plane, after the fire was put out, the incident you're talking about in Boston, I assume it's probably Logan. Yeah, there was probably some.
It was at Bedford.
Oh, Bedford. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure there was some pollution afterwards from that, some unpleasant side effects.
And nobody knew.
Well, maybe they knew, but they couldn't do anything about it.
No, if you read the information I've sent out, the recognition of this chemical is much more recent. The situation I'm talking about took place in the 70s.
Oh, yeah, then it's possible it wasn't known. Yeah.
So I just brought it up because it seemed like something that if anyone's going to talk about it, maybe it should be us in Brookfield.
I put a message into the fire department, and let's start by seeing how much, if any, foam we actually use here in Brookfield.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And or if they're aware of an alternative, or maybe they already have one.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure people have thought this out, who are in firefighting.
When I get an answer, I will let you know.
Great. By the way, if you hadn't read it, just very briefly, the maximum recommended by Connecticut, or the minimum recommended by Connecticut, is 70 parts per trillion. The average around the state is in the single digits. However, Brookfield has 26 in wells parts per trillion. New Fairfield is actually the highest at 31 parts per trillion. Danbury is at 28 in the middle. Everyone else was below 15, I believe, and most below 10.
Maybe it had something to do with Candlewood Lake.
I'm not sure. I don't think they know.
But
the good news is...
Well, we have the Still River, and that flows from Danbury into Brookfield. It's an odd river in that it flows south to north, not the opposite. And I don't know, something could be coming that way too. Although that wouldn't affect New Fairfield.
No, not at all. This information comes from Aquarian's community wells, and they are required to test for a lot of things. They're not required to test for this, but they do. PFAS.
It doesn't necessarily sound devastating, the figure you quoted, but then again, what do I know?
What does anyone know? in this. It's
Mhm.
just, but it certainly would be better to get on top of it before it becomes a problem.
Agreed.
If it's possible, it might be non-controllable too. It might be just something in nature.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that update, Michael. I read part of it. I didn't read all of it. So thank you for pulling that together. Anything else under informal discussion?
Yeah, there are a few, I received the estimates from
Oh,
Eric
yes.
Davison and also Steve Trinkus. Did you want me to go ahead and engage them?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, I do. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Thank you for explaining that, Alice. I was
Oh,
thinking
sure.
that it was one or the other.
Right.
And now I realize it's both.
Yeah, I had tried a couple other engineers. Everybody's busy right now, so it's
Nope,
getting
and
tough.
these are good, reputable companies, so.
No, I'm aware of that. It just, what we needed, the one had one part of it, the other had the other, so we're on both.
Does anybody have any idea when we'll be able to have meetings at Town Hall again?
Nope.
Nope.
They have to check with the governor and the first selectman. I'm all for it, though.
Yeah, the Zoom meeting doesn't really replace a in-person meeting, especially viewing maps and so on.
Well, it'll certainly would have to be something that those that were comfortable, did.
Yeah, absolutely, of course.
But either way, we can't do it.
All right. Anything else? Informal discussion. All righty. Someone want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
I'll make
All right, I
a
heard
motion to adjourn.
I heard
Oh,
Margaret.
Okay.
Margaret made the motion to adjourn.
Got
Dave,
one
you
in.
You want a second?
Second.
All right, Dave seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry.
Uh-oh.
I could be missing something. Did we actually vote on the minutes?
Oh, yes, I know.
Yes, we did. With
Okay,
the
I meant it was a
change.
motion. I don't remember voting on it, so we're good. Because I don't remember
Yeah,
hearing
no,
any
we did with
abstentions.
the change.
You did
That
with
Oh,
one
that's
typo
right. Yes,
change.
he's right.
Okay.
Well, no, that was the motion. Well,
Yeah, I
he's
don't know if
asking
we-
if we then voted after the motion. And I don't remember that
Is
either.
everyone here that's here tonight?
Well, let me
here?
ask Allison. Allison, did we vote?
Yeah, I think you did.
I thought we
Okay.
did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
you did.
Yep, I
Okay.
remember doing it, but thank you
Yep.
for asking.
Sorry.
Mark. Nope. All right, well, that was the discussion on the motion to adjourn. So we're still
That's a good one. That's
Any
first.
more discussion on the motion to adjourn?
We need to do reports.
All right, well, if there isn't, then I'll call the motion to adjourn. All those in favor of adjourning, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, our meeting is adjourned. We'll see everyone in 2
Have a
weeks.
great night.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Thank
Have a
It
good
was
one.
a
Thanks,
pleasure seeing everybody. Take care now.